let's talk about how to save specific areas of a layer. A couple of little shortcuts and kind of nifty tricks here. And I'm going to bring over the layers palette so that you can see it, or at least most of it. Let's put it right here. Okay, and the first thing we want to talk about is to select anything on a layer. When it's like these two ducks, it's an isolated element. In other words, these two ducks are on their own layer, and the background in this case of that layer is empty. So to select these ducks, one fast, easy way to do that, or to select anything that's on a particular layer, is you in fact go to the layers palette and you put your cursor on the little picture or icon, and you press the Command PC Control key, and notice that a little like selection box pops up when I do that. And so I press the Command key and click the little icon, and what the result is that the ducks are specifically selected. And that's a really nice little trick. Another one is that both of these ducks are on the same layer. And so even if I just used the trick that I just showed you, it would select both ducks. Let's say I want to select just one of these two ducks and move it around on the layer. The easy, fast way that I know of, at least maybe there are other shortcuts as well, but this is the one that I'm familiar with, and that is, first off, do just a general selection around the area that you want, in this case the duck. But of course that is the duck and some of the surrounding area around the duck, and I want just the duck. And so once I make the general selection with any of the selection tools, I can go to the Move tool, and either by clicking and dragging within the selection area, or I'm going to go to my keyboard and just click any of my up and down or left and right arrow keys, and it will, what I call, shrink wrap the selection to just around the very edge of the duck. And there you see what happens. So there again, that's a pretty nifty little trick for isolating and selecting just part of something that's on a layer. And again, I'll do the other one. I drag in general around it, and then I can just go to my Move tool, click and drag, and it shrink wraps right around the image, and only the image. Okay, another thing that I want to talk about is the transformation tools. The transformation tools we talked about early on with the Move tool, how we can click up in the options here, the Show Transform tools, and that will then allow me to rotate this and shrink it, shrink the image and rotate the image. So in other words, scale it and rotate it. Okay, and we can do that with the Move tool. We can also, however, do those things and some additional things by using the transformation tools. First off, one that you should probably learn is Command T, which is free transform. Command T, and that will give us the again the tool to scale it and rotate it on the fly, as we generally like to say. So that is another one of those little shortcuts. The other thing that we can do is use these tools that I started to talk about, which are the transformation tools. So here they are. We've got the scale and the rotate. Again, those are just like what we looked at with free transform. And but we have skew and distort and perspective. Those are pretty cool. And let's take a look at any one of them. And let's say perspective. And this will give us an ability, as you can see here, to in fact make it look like in fact it's in perspective. And this is a tool that is very, very powerful and does some neat kinds of things as far as creating a sense of perspective. Okay? And then we have some of the others, such as the skew or the distort. The distort is a pretty neat one, and it allows us to do all kinds of movements and flips of the image within space. Works sort of like the perspective tool, but it lets us almost rotate the image as well as give it a sense of perspective. And so here again, we've got some pretty cool things. Okay? And finally, we have the warping tool. And the warping tool is a newer tool, and the warp lets us do quite a lot of pretty neat things. And let me see here where we are. Come on. Here you go. Here's the warp. And the warp really brings into play some vector tools. You notice that when I went to edit warp, it brought up automatically this grid. And this is nothing more than anchor points and handlebars, and lets us literally warp the entire object. And this might be really a neat way to wrap an image, let's say, around a curved cylinder or like a coffee cup. Or it would be probably very useful, I've done this on several occasions, needed to put a logo or an image on a t-shirt that a person was wearing, and we wanted to make it look realistic and believable. And as you can see here with all of these handlebars and the anchor points, it's really quite flexible and easy to do. So the warp is a very sophisticated, very cool sort of tool.